Welcome to October. I'm Steve. This is Adam. We are joined today by Rachel. She is our subject matter expert in Canada. We're going to be talking all about Canada on this month's market update. We do a lot of business in Canada, much like in the US. Transloading, trucking, big business in Canada. We operate in all of the Canadian ports, and as I mentioned, we've got Rachel with us, who runs our Canadian operation, and we're going to talk to her about the Port of Vancouver, Prince Rupert, BC, Halifax, and Montreal. Today, we're going to learn a little bit more about the reservation systems, bond remanifest, what the truck capacity is looking like up in Canada these days, and kind of go from there.
Possibly even the fall freeze. Rachel, could we speak about that?
Fall freeze and summer thaws.
Summer thaw, fall freeze.
So
we were joking about that a little bit earlier.
So to get things going, as I mentioned, there are 4 ports in Montreal, or in Canada. Port of Montreal, the Port of Halifax, the Port of Vancouver, and the Port of Prince Rupert, British Columbia. So Rachel, I'm gonna let you start with any of the 4 ports and just go around the horn. And if you could talk to us a little bit about terminal reservations, all the inner workings and nuances of each terminal, that would be fantastic. And how the bond remanifest works in the process and timing it takes for each terminal as well, kind of help our customers know the steps involved.
I think, in addition, a shameless plug here, the majority of trucking companies don't have an expert on hand like Rachel to be able to walk through the process of getting cargo from Canada into the United States. And I think I, for one, have to be walked through that process. I am by no means an expert. So we have customers that are coming to us with these problems and saying, what do I do? And like Steve said, we're fortunate enough to have Rachel, and she's going to do that for us.
Yes. So fire away, Rachel. You can start with any terminal you'd like, and we'll just go around the horn.
Welcome aboard.
Okay. Well, let's start off first with the process with the bond remanifest, because that affects all 4 ports throughout Canada, and it's the same process regardless of what port you're coming into.
Okay.
So there's a bond remanifest process. So when if you're going to dray and transload freight, you're going to bring the freight into Canada. We're going to move it in bond, and it's going to border clear into the U.S. So what happens is we take the bond remanifest and take it to Canada Customs and get it stamped from the port to the warehouse. Once that's done, we can pick up at the ports, and then we remanifest it to the line haul carrier from the warehouse to the line haul carrier. He transloads the freight, the warehouse takes it to the border, and that border clears into the U.S. That process doesn't change regardless of what port you're bringing it into. It's regardless of any, from Halifax right up to Prince Rupert. It's the same process.
Okay.
So let's start with Halifax. Halifax, there's no reservations required. There's typically 2 ports out there. There's Ceres, CERES, and PSI, or PSA, I'm sorry. No appointment reservations needed. Same process, bond remanifest, pick up the containers. No delays there right now, and it changes from day to day as far as waiting in line to pick up the container. There's no delays with Canada Customs getting the bonds remanifested. Typically, I can get a container pulled out of the port if it's grounded within a 2-day, I'd say 24 to 48 hours, as long as it's steamship released and it's all the bonds are redone. And I can get it transloaded same day and on the road. Typically with Halifax, with a team, I can get it anywhere into the Midwest within 2 days.
Oh, wow.
So
Excellent.
Transload, on the road, 2 days, you're in the Midwest at the door, at the consignee's door.
Welcome.
Then we'll go to Montreal. No reservations there. There's 2 major ports. There's Termont and Cast Racine. no reservations, as I said, same process, bond remanifests. Right now, with Canada Customs and with COVID, as we know, there's a bit of a delay right now with getting the bonds remanifested. We're looking at roughly about 24 to 72 hours getting the bonds back. That could change next week. Who knows? It just depends on how busy the offices are. As you know, there's the port strike that just happened.
Yeah.
They pretty much cleared out most of those containers. There's a lot still in the pile for rail, and CN's catching up with that. But I'm not concerned, and you're not concerned about the rail.
No.
We're concerned about picking up and dray transloading over the road. So typically, like I said, for 24 to 72 hours, bond remanifest back. Once we get those back, we can go in, pull them, and I can typically get those dray transload within the same day as well, as long as we pick them up, same day transload. And like Halifax, anywhere, I would say 1 to 2 days in the Midwest with a team from Montreal. So
wow.
as long as everything,
Excellent.
all the stars align, there's no border delays, weather and traffic, as you know. That's pretty much it for Montreal.
Okay.
We'll go to Vancouver. There's 3 major ports there. There's Delta Port, which is the main one that I normally see a lot of freight come into.
Okay.
There's Centre and Van Term, and there's also Fraser Surrey Dock. Those are the 3 major ones. Now, this is the tricky one with Vancouver. Vancouver are all by reservation. Reservations are really tough to get. The key in getting these, as with all of the freight coming through Canada and transloading and getting that bond remanifested, is getting that advice notice in hand, because we need that in order to book the reservations, and we can't do that until we have the bond remanifested. So the key in getting reservations is getting that advice notice in hand. Key. I can't stress that enough.
And that advice notice, real quick, the
reservations.
steamship line provides that advice notice to our clients, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. The steamship line give that to the client.
Okay.
So what would happen is we would take that advice notice, complete the bond remanifest with Canada Customs.
Okay.
Once that's done, then we can proceed to book the reservations.
Okay. Cool.
And
We
just
can't do that. Sorry.
the reservation is the equivalent to a port appointment.
Yep.
I think that just the terminology sometimes can be a little
Yes.
bit confusing. And I know for myself, hearing reservation, when I hear that, I just think port appointment.
Yes.
So
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to differentiate those terms when we're talking about, U.S. versus Canadian. So, hearing that, as I mentioned, that terminology may sound a little bit different to people that are normally just working throughout the U.S. ports and rails. So it's awesome that that we're able to make that distinguish.
Yep.
So thank you.
Yep. So we booked the reservation. I think I was mentioning to you guys as well. I'll just give you an example. A container comes in, a vessel arrives on Monday. That vessel will be worked for, say, 4 or 5 days. So now we're looking at Thursday, Friday.
Yep.
So what happens is we can go in and book a reservation on Wednesday, but that container hasn't discharged yet.
Okay.
So if we bypass and we go past Wednesday, we've missed that reservation. And now we're looking at rebooking a reservation for Thursday, Friday. And port reservations out there are really hard to get. So if we cancel that reservation that we've already booked and we bypass, because now that it's gone past the time that it's come off and it's still on the vessel, now we're having to rebook again. There may not be any reservations Thursday or Friday left.
Boy.
So now you're looking at the following Monday. And now you're going past, well, not the last free day, but you may be going with demerge with the steamship line.
Yeah.
So I tend to like to book a reservation on the very last day that vessel's working, because you're guaranteed the container's going to come off, and you're not, in essence, having to rebook and cancel, and then it's just a lot of it's a big process.
Yeah.
People don't understand. I'm not saying that we can book it for Thursday, and if it comes off on Wednesday, that's great. I can cancel the Friday and try and get something, but like I say, they may not be available. So reservations are very tricky to get in BC, and yeah, it's a bit of a process. But
Okay.
once we get them and they're transloaded, and the border is actually 30 miles from the transload warehouse.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
once it's loaded, it's gone and it's at the border I would say within an hour or two.
Okay.
So
I think
yeah,
a question,
so it's quick.
a general question is, in the United States, it's conventional that you're allotted 5 free days at the port before demurrage begins to accrue. Is that the same in Canada, or does that vary by port, or is it just kind of pretty universal that you're allowed 5 free days before that demurrage begins to accrue?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same right across the board. It's usually 5 business days.
Okay.
Or no, I'm not sorry. I'm not 5 business. Five working days. So I think it includes the weekends as well.
Okay.
So they're not very forgiving.
Yeah.
No,
say the
no,
least.
none of them are.
Absolutely.
No.
Those are the dirty
Prince
words.
Rupert.
The dirty words in our industry: storage, per diem, demurrage.
Yeah.
All
Oh, yeah.
vulgarity.
Yeah, that's a nasty word. Dirty word. Let's go up to Prince Rupert. That's
Okay.
one of the coldest places in Canada and the most remote place in
Yeah.
Canada to get any container out of. It's becoming quite busy, as you know. So typically I'm running, there's no trucking companies up there. So every truck we're running to pick up there for a dray transload or even to move a container intact, you're running 900 miles north from Vancouver or 900 miles west from Edmonton to get up
Oh,
there.
wow.
And just remember, it's one road in, one road out.
Wow.
So like a 1-lane highway through the mountains. And for example, just 2 days ago, I had one pick up there and it's already snowing up there and they had to shut down because of snow through the mountains and black ice at
Oof.
night. So, and not only that too, you've got to consider when these trucks are running up there empty, their trailers are empty. So
Mhm.
that's light. And
Oh,
you're
yes.
running on slick roads up there. It's pretty treacherous. So
Sure.
a lot of things involved with running up there. But that port there, very easy to work with, no reservations like Vancouver. You can typically pick up there once the container's grounded. I can go in same day that it's picked up and I can get it transloaded same day. Bond remanifests are with under 24 hours, sometimes same day.
Oh, wow.
Prince Rupert is such an easy terminal to work with. They really are. As long as the container's grounded and the steamship line's done, as long as everything's done on the front end, it's a very quick process out there. But
Right.
the biggest hurdle is getting the equipment up there. That's the only issue with Prince Rupert.
And that's more of a timing thing
Right.
as far as when
Right.
the vessels are going to arrive, when we think the container's going to come off, and pre-plan in deadhead our truck up there, which is a 1-day team transit up or a 2-day solo transit up.
Correct.
So
So
a little bit
I
of
typically
pre-planning
don't
there.
like to send. I typically don't like to send trucks up there until I know the container's grounded, because then you're
Yeah.
paying teams to sit up there, and it's very costly, as you know. Canadian team drivers,
Yeah.
they can retire off of us. So yeah,
Good.
so it's not cheap. So I prefer to send a truck up there when I know for sure that container's off, and then, I mean, it's better for the customer, right? Where
For
they're
sure.
not paying for detention with the drivers up there.
Right. Well, that's great. That's all good information for our customers and us internally here at PortX to know. So thanks for running through the ports with us. I know it's kind of a loaded question, but what are you seeing for over-the-road truck capacity in Halifax, in Montreal, in Vancouver? We already know kind of the runaround with Prince Rupert. We have to position the trucks up there. But how's truck capacity looking? Down here in the States, some lanes are pretty tough to get capacity on, such as LA, Seattle. Capacity can be a little tight. How's it looking in Canada these days on those 3 ports?
Halifax, Montreal, no issues.
Okay.
I mean, there are lots of availability for teams and singles, no
Okay.
issues.
Good.
Vancouver, the West Coast, it's getting tighter.
Okay.
It was very easy, say up to about three weeks ago, even a month ago.
Okay.
I'm finding just in this past week, volume's getting very tight out there, and I think it's because it's with what's happening on the West Coast in the U.S.
Yep.
It's filtering down to us in Canada now, so everybody's scrambling for those trucks.
Yep.
So you have a good relationship with these guys, like I do.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I'm
You
grabbing
do.
what I can get.
Yeah.
They're holding a lot of equipment for me, so
Okay.
it's good to have that relationship with the carriers out there, which I've had for like 15 plus years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've got a good network of carriers out in Vancouver that I can go to,
Great.
and I've got a lot on hold right now, just waiting for my freight to filter down
Good.
and roll out. So it's good to have a good network of carriers out there, which and like I say, the guys in Vancouver, all my carriers, they all run up to Prince Rupert for me as well with their teams and single guys, and I've got some in my little network of carriers that I can run up there as well. So that's key is having a good relationship with them. But yeah, it's tight.
Yeah.
Speaking of the West Coast port congestion, specifically as it relates to Los Angeles and Long Beach, I think many of our customers are finding that they do have a Canadian alternative.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we have been recommending. So instead of getting hit with the backlog and waiting for your boxes to discharge and then put on the rail, to go inland, we're recommending that why not try Canada?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a lot of boxes coming off in Canada these days to avoid LA currently. LA is just a very big circus and will continue to be the rest of the year. So a lot of our clients are diverting their containers, or should I say stop booking their containers up to Vancouver and Prince Rupert, and really keeping Rachel busy up there. Rachel, give us the one example you and I did a few weeks ago. We had a load coming into Prince Rupert, had to get down into the Midwest, down into Ohio area. Just let's tell our friends how quickly we were able to get that container pulled, bond, remanifested, and onto a waiting truck that we had positioned there. Just real quick, if you could just kind of recap the timing of that story would be great.
So the stars aligned that day, Adam. I'm not sure if you're aware of this one, but this is a fantastic story. So container came in, it was discharged, and I sent the bond remanifest to the drayman. He went to Canada Customs. He sent the email, got it back within an hour from Canada Customs. He already got that bond remanifest, went over to the port, pulled the container. I didn't even know he pulled the container, but he got it and pulled it out back at his warehouse. And it just so happened there was a teen driver stuck up there that lost a load up there, that their container didn't come off. And so they were just sitting around, and I just happened to call this carrier, and he says, yeah, I've got a team sitting up there right now. Where do you want me to go? So I sent him over to the warehouse. Bond remanifested the second time from the warehouse to the line haul within the hour. It was already on the road within 3 hours. Wow. From the time it picked up at the port, 2 bonds remanifested with Canada Customs, dray transloaded onto the drivers, and off they went within 3 hours. So, like I say, the
impressive.
stars aligned that day. It was a fantastic, and the customer was really happy because they weren't expecting that.
Sure.
I wasn't expecting it.
No.
So it was a great. That's a good success story.
Yes.
I think what's so wonderful is that our customers are fortunate enough to have a subject matter expert such as Rachel to walk them through this process, which can be very disconcerting. Period.
Yes.
That's awesome. Just use that right there, and then we're good.
Perfect.
So, just to kind of wrap up the whole conversation, from your perspective, Rachel, what are the items that you need in hand before you can do
Great
your
question.
process? Start the process with the reservations and the bond remand. What are the 2 or 3 key elements, key pieces of information our clients need to supply you with?
Great question.
Steamship advice notice. It's all I need right up front. I don't even need the a commercial invoice, I don't even need a DO. I just need the advice notice.
Okay.
That's all I need. The other stuff can come afterwards. That
Okay.
advice notice is the first and foremost.
Okay,
So-
and we want that advice notice while that container's out on the water, coming
Yeah.
across on the journey. We can take that and
Yeah.
we can kind of start our process.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
Awesome.
that's perfect. So you heard it
Show
here
me the
first.
advice notice.
Advice notice is key in
Show
what
me the
we're
money.
trying to do.
Go.
I don't even care where it's going. I just need that advice notice to pull the container.
That's great. That's great. Well, look, Rachel, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you being our subject matter expert in Canada. We're fortunate enough to have you on our team here at Port X. Our clients are very fortunate to have you with us. And thanks for all you've been doing for us. And we'll continue to move that cross-border Canadian freight and keep our clients and their supply chains rolling. Adam,
Awesome.
thank you again for joining
I think
me.
we did this last. There we
We
go.
did.
We did that. Awesome. Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, everybody.
There we go
Fist bumps.
to Rachel.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Cheers.
All right. Take care, guys.
You too.